Welcome to Speak for Yourself. Marcellus Wiley here with Acho's blood all over me right now. I'm about to slay him. And that's Emmanuel Acho over there.
It's Monday, man. I came out with my money green.
Is that money green?
It's money green. About to make money this show.
Okay. Bland guacamole to me with a grape in it. But let's get it started, y'all, with the Patriots. I'm winning today. They lost their fourth straight, though. Yesterday, they dropped to 2-5. Cam Newton rushed for a touchdown, but he hasn't thrown a touchdown pass since September. He still had a chance to lead his team to a win with just over 30 seconds left, but he fumbled on a run in the red zone, and the Bills Mafia went on to win. Despite the loss, Bill Belichick said, quote, "Cam's our quarterback." So, Acho, are the Patriots making a mistake keeping Cam as their starting quarterback? Money green.
Big bro, the Patriots are making a huge mistake keeping Cam as a starting quarterback, but I'm going to hit you with some layers like a wedding cake, okay? I'm not just going to give you the low-hanging fruit. Okay. Patriots making a huge mistake for several reasons. At this point, the New England Patriots, as unfortunate as it may be, you need to go ahead and tank. Prepare for the future.
You said that word.
You need to go ahead and tank. Here's the problem, Marcellus. We've talked about this before. In the NFL, tanking isn't possible. That doesn't actually work.
Okay.
Too many different players have too many different agendas. You have 53 independent contractors on the football field at one time, and hopefully they can work in tandem.
Yes.
You got guys playing for checks, guys playing for pride, guys playing for new contracts, guys playing for the family. So you can't actually tank. So what do? You have to put in somebody who will help facilitate tanking. Here's the problem with Cam Newton, and I'm going to start off this show speaking this truth and speaking these facts.
Okay.
Cam is too good to lose all the way out, to lose the rest of the games and give the Patriots a great draft pick. But he's not good enough, Marcellus, to get them to the playoffs. So they're stuck in NFL purgatory. He's too good to lose and give you a great draft pick, but he's not good enough to get you to the playoffs. Let me break this down and put this in non-sports terms for y'all.
Yes.
In spades, a card game that you play, you can bid nil. What bidding nil is saying, I won't win any books. And if you don't win any books, you get 100 points. But here's the problem, Marcellus. Here's the problem.
Stupid.
If you win just one book, you undermine bidding nil, and you end up losing 50 points depending on who you're playing with. Having Cam Newton, Marcellus, is like having a handful of queens. It's not a guaranteed win like an ace or a joker, but it's not gonna lose every time. And that's the position the Patriots are in. They got a handful of queens with Cam Newton. It's not guaranteed to get you to the playoffs, but you're also not gonna lose the rest of the games and have a top 3-4 overall pick. So, are they making a mistake starting Cam Newton? Absolutely, because they're going to end up in NFL purgatory.
Interesting. Well, I'm trying to get paid on this show, so I ain't going to just answer by talking about spades and card games. I'm actually going to talk about...
You know you like that take, though.
That was good. That was good. That was good. Except, okay, let me push back on it a little bit.
Push back.
How to code. Okay, so Cam Newton is going to win enough games where you say, okay, you're not tanking, but not enough games where you're going to get the incentives of tanking.
Correct. Thesis of my argument.
Okay. That makes no sense by any accord. Like, okay, let's get somebody in here who could hurt and help our chances. Which one is he doing?
I'll tell that next
time. But you'll tell that next time. Okay, so let me get to my take so I can answer the question, so I can get paid and stop talking about card games. Here's the take. Are they making a mistake with Cam Newton being in the starting quarterback position? Hell no, because this is a lesson that my ex-girlfriends all learned, that a man is as faithful as his options. Guess what? Wasn't too faithful back in the days. You know why? Because I had options, big dog. Now, the New England Patriots aren't young that dude. You know who they are? They're you right now, in quarantine. Acho, you ain't got many options right now. So guess what? You're as faithful as your limitations are. And that's what, looking at the New England Patriots right now, they're as faithful as they're limited. Let's talk about Cam Newton after we talk about what are the options, because this is what my exes had to deal with, right? So what are the options? No dimes like I had to deal with. Look at these options. Brian Hoyer. I'm not going through divorce anyway, but I know you over there looking crazy. Brian Hoyer. You know what? He's lost 11 straight starts going back to 2016. 7 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and that includes 4 different franchises. So you can't blame the coaches. You can't blame the organization. This dude went from the Bears to the 49ers to the Colts and now back to the Patriots and finds a way to lose a game. Okay, let's talk about the other one in that situation, Jarrett Stidham. Yep. 48 completion percentage, a passer rating of 36. Goodness. Only completed 13 of 27 passes, 1 touchdown, and 3 interceptions. A man, or in this case, an organization, is only as faithful as its options. Now you insert Cam Newton into this conversation, and Cam Newton is not playing like Superman, but Cam Newton is playing much better than the alternatives would play in this same situation. Bill Belichick's no dummy. Bill Belichick's no card player either. He knows that he has to go out there with the biggest hand he has, the greatest face card he has. That's Cam Newton, bruh.
Marcellus, there's literally an amendment created for you talking about self-incrimination. You up here on national television, ladies and gentlemen, incriminating yourself, talking about I'm only as faithful as my options, sir.
Statute of limitation. I ain't got no options now. Look at me, belly poking out, button about to bust.
What's wrong with you?
I'm different now.
I'm not about to get you in trouble. I will not partake, America. So let me push back real quick. Here's the issue, bro. If you start Jarrett Stidham, you're in a win-win situation. Here's why. If you lose, you won. Because you have a higher draft pick, because you're not making the playoffs anyway. Patriots fans, as much as that pains me to say, it's the reality of the situation. So if you start Jarrett Stidham and you continue to lose, you're winning. If you start Jarrett Stidham, the same man in who you drafted, I believe, in the 3rd or 4th round just a year ago, maybe he shows some promise, and maybe you win. You win if you lose. You win if you win. Otherwise, keep in mind, Marcellus, Patriots aren't committing to Cam long term. If you're
not like this.
Exactly. Like, you've seen enough to realize, dang, Cam is not our future. Is Jarrett Stidham your future? Probably not. But if Cam's not your future, you might as well see what Stidham can do. If he don't do nothing, you get a great pick. If he does do something, you're fine anyway. Now, let me talk about this. The real issue at hand is very simple. Cam Newton does not fit with the Patriot way.
What's that?
The Patriot way is simply just don't lose the game.
Yeah.
They will lose it. Think about this, Sal. Buffalo only had, 340 yards yesterday? They had a turnover. Patriots played clean the whole game. Cam Newton, you're driving. You're about to go down and score. You're about to go down and either tie the game up with a gimme field goal or go win the game with a few seconds left. And you turn the ball over. Fumble. Game before that, against the San Francisco 49ers, 3 interceptions in 3 quarters. You lost the game again. Game before that, Denver Broncos. 2 turnovers when you held the Broncos to 18 points. They're not even asking Cam Newton to do a ton. We're saying, Cam, you don't have to win the game, bro. Just please don't lose it. 3 consecutive games since Cam returned from COVID. Not only is he not winning games for the Patriots, he's going out and losing games for the Patriots. So that's why they're clearly making a mistake. Marcellus, if Cam Newton were not Cam Newton, if he wasn't named Cam, if he was named, let's call it Baker, or say he was named Gardner. If he was named anybody besides Cam, exactly, we would be on this man's head. But for whatever reason, you're granting him special grace because he's Cam Newton.
Oh, excuse me for being a sympathetic person.
Football ain't got no time for sympathy, Coach.
Oh, really?
You know this.
COVID has wrecked our country. And it's also wrecked the Patriot way. All the opt-outs. Yeah, it's the right time to play it. Yeah. Election Eve. Yeah, you better play that song right now, damn it. COVID has destroyed what we know of the Patriots. That's the top layer, but let's dig deeper. Like you said, in this wet and cake, let's go deeper into the layers. Patriots on offense is the youngest that they've been since 2011. Everyone's going to jump out. I can see all the YouTube comments right now. Oh, well, Tom Brady leaves your roster, of course you're going to be young. Guess what? Even if you take in consideration Tom Brady, since 2015, we haven't seen the Patriots younger on offense. Why do I bring that up? Because I go back just 21 months ago when they were in the Super Bowl playing the Rams. Did they win that Super Bowl? Oh, they did. Okay. And on that team, they now are starting and producing only 12 players from a roster of 53 men in that Super Bowl game. 21 months ago, you had 53 guys. Now you're down to 12. Opt-outs, retirements, unretirements, guys leaving. Point being, when you talk about the Patriot way, we're looking at something that we haven't seen before. We're actually talking about a resurrection of the Patriot way.
Don't do this.
Acho loves to talk about the demise of the Patriot way. He loves to talk about the demise. You can tell me quickly when somebody is going down the hill. But Acho's not the same guy that can predict when someone is actually going up the hill. So I want to just hit you with a full screen to just let you know what a dynasty looks like in the beginning. Since I'm a guy of process, I understand how this is going. Let's look at the Patriots and their humble beginnings. Full screen right here. This is the first season record for the only 3 modern-day dynasties that we have. Let's go all the way back to yesteryear, Bill Walsh's 49ers. Everyone knows the success, and in his 3rd year, he won a Super Bowl. But you know what happened in year 1? 2-14. Bill Walsh was 2-14? Yes, he was. Let's go to Jimmy Johnson's Cowboys, more recent. And Acho knows it because he was like 2 years old growing up in Dallas. And they won a Super Bowl in their 4th year, and they won 3 out of 4. But in his first year, they were 1-15. Oh, my God. And Bill Belichick's Patriots, the ones that we're talking about right now, dynastic, 20 years. But you know in year 1 what they were? 5-11. And Tom Brady even played in that first year, so don't act like that. He didn't start any games, but he was in there nonetheless. Now, I take all that away to talk about the resurrection.
What, Marcellus?
Of the Patriot way, of another dynasty being created. Oh, but these are the humble beginnings of it. The Patriot way is being reinforced as it's being redesigned with new players. I just talked about 2 years ago, winning the Super Bowl with a different roster. This is now under construction. If you have patience, you'll see another dynasty.
Marcellus, that was the worst take of all the takes that you've given in the last 4 months. Because there was such selection bias. I can give you
another dynasty.
I can give you 1 teams that didn't turn into a dynasty.
Yeah, but you can't give me these coaches.
5-11
You can't give me these coaches. Would they have these coaches? Would they have these coaches?
Let me be real with you, bro.
That's my point.
You're being a little you're asinine to some points that you're making.
Stephen A.
Some asinine points that you're making.
Let's go.
One, there's selection bias in what you said. 2, the fact of the matter is, to a degree, we're agreeing. Here's my problem. Cam Newton is too good to go 4-12.
What is he going to
They're already 2-5, so he can't go 1-15.
Yeah.
To a degree, we're making the same point. My point is simple. Cam Newton's too good to be as bad as you want him to be, but he's not good enough to be as good as you need him to be. So you're stuck. You're stuck with Cam, bro. Make the decision. Figure out what do you want. You can't be average. Good is the enemy of great, and right now, average is the enemy of good. And the Patriots are stuck. Think about this, Sel. Patriots have scored 7 first-quarter points all season. Worst in the NFL.
Yeah.
Cam Newton, they've never had a lead in any of their last 3 games. You can't win like that. But lastly, bro, Cam, 175 yards or less, 1 touchdown or fewer in his last 4 games.
Wow.
Like, these stats are disgusting.
Yeah.
They're grotesque. They're sickening. Like, these stats aren't even like, oh, no. This is abysmal.
Keep that energy when we talk about some other quarterbacks that you like a little more than Cam Newton in this moment right now, because I'm going to remember you said those things, disgusting. But now we're agreeing, but I'm asinine, so you're asinine too. How are we agreeing? We're not agreeing. I'm looking at the Patriots right now that they knew this situation was going to be ugly. They came into the situation knowing that it's probably not going to end well. That's why Tom Brady left. How do you leave a dynasty unless you know how ugly it's going to be? Let me be real about this. Have you ever redesigned a home? Have you ever built a home from scratch? Have you ever just redesigned one room in that house? Walk in there too early and tell me what you're going to see. You're going to see nothing but wood, hammers, and nails, brother. That's what you're seeing right now with the Patriots.
You could easily... You can't say that Belichick thought this was going to be ugly.
Yes.
Here's why.
Go.
If Cam Newton had been playing like a top 10 quarterback, the Patriots would be 5-2. This wasn't supposed to be ugly.
Close.
You feel me? Like,
hold on, June 28th was... Cam was signed June 28th.
Absolutely.
So guess what? June 27th, he was thinking,
but
it's going to be ugly.
my thing is, Bill Belichick was not starting the season, at least not after the Seahawks game, thinking this season's going to be a terrible season. It wasn't supposed to be that way. Cam Newton, unfortunately, has made it that way. Dude had 2 interceptions, Broncos, 3 interceptions, Niners, and then a fumble going in to win or tie the game yesterday. Cam Newton is the reason it's ugly. To use your remodel reference, you go into a house with the remodel expecting one thing, but then they start digging into the foundation and are like, oh, this is way worse than we thought. Now you realize it's about to be ugly. With Cam Newton, you thought it was going to be one thing. Now they're realizing, uh-oh, this is way worse than we thought.
You stop that. First of all, you don't need to pick up Cam Newton on June 28th when you're really not expecting much from him. He's not a part of your day 1 plans. Why do you wait till June 28th? So Cam Newton comes out and balls in the first 2 games. Let's talk about it. First 2 games, we see Cam Newton, and you can see that he came out. What was that? Oh, my goodness. Passer rating 96. Now it's...
Well, that was like 90 days ago.
Oh, I'm bringing it up to help your point. So
my point needs no help.
It needs a lot of help. Let me help you.
It needs no help.
Here's the thing. Cam Newton was a pleasant surprise of an ugly reality. You ever been in that situation before when you just like, all right, I'm going to throw a flyer out there. Oh, my God, maybe. No. But you know what is good about this? They landed exactly where they're going to land no matter what Cam Newton does. This is a top 5 picking team in the draft, correct? And let's be real about it. Why move up? You're not going to surpass the Jets. Jets might not win a game this year, right? So you're not getting the #1 overall pick. We got, what, Trevor Lawrence, you got Fields, you got Trey Lance, you got Micah Parsons, you got the old lineman from Oregon. Look, you're already locked in to get a chance to get one of the three quarterbacks everyone is salivating over. So you saying Cam Newton is the issue when already there was an issue with design and architecture of this team this year.
So you don't think Cam is the issue?
No.
You don't think Cam is the issue in the last 3 games?
Please work with me. If Cam Newton wasn't there, what would it look like?
But he's there.
Hold on.
He's there.
Hold on. But what would it look like? He is trying to get.
If Cam wasn't there, I would submit they're probably still 2-5.
Nah, come on.
They beat the Dolphins week 1. They would have beat the Dolphins week 1 at least.
This rush offense would be 3rd in the league.
They would have beat the Dolphins week 1. That's 1 win.
I don't know.
But the Dolphins had 11 points.
I know.
11 points.
I know, but you got in front of them because of Cam Newton, and he played a good game.
He had 15 completions.
Look. You really want to play that? Carson Wentz yesterday won the ball. You can win ball games ugly in this NFL today, so stop acting like that.
The fact of the matter is, even if Cam Newton were not the starter, the Patriots would still have 1 to 2 wins. They would still have 1 to 2.
But they still wouldn't surpass the Jets. My point is this. I hate when someone, you know who gets into this conversation a little bit? The Greek freak, to a little degree, and walk with me here. Without you, what will we be? Jack, nothing. But with you, we're close, but not good enough. And then everyone attacks you for being the one that's the life raft in that situation. Cam Newton in this situation, look, he had no options, big dog, and beggars can't be choosy. So he goes to the Patriots knowing that Tom Brady already departed. That means they don't have much. That means they don't have weapons. Why would he leave home? Why would he leave a dynasty? And then he actually resuscitates it to a degree, gives it a little life. And people like you now want to pounce on him saying he's the reason when he's the only reason they were even having a life.
That's fair. That is totally fair. I can rock with that. Okay. But I just can't say, are we going to give Cam Newton a pass this whole season, which is what it appears you're trying to do. Give Cam Newton a pass this whole season, because without Cam, the Patriots would have been bad anyway. So you know what, Cam? You go out there and have as much fun as you want. Oh, wow. I'm going to give you a ribbon, a consolation prize. Thanks for just showing up. I just don't think we can give him a pass. He's still getting a check. Is he getting a $30 million check? Absolutely not. But is he still an NFL quarterback with an NFL MVP to his resume? He is. You got to at least ask him to not lose games.
Let's talk about MVP candidates. I'll give you 2 of them, but let's start off with winning quarterbacks yesterday in ugly performances. 12 of 22, 93 yards, 1 touchdown. Tua, winner. You're not going to talk bad about him today. Derek Carr, 15 of 24, 112 yards, 1 touchdown, no interception. Winner. You're not going to talk bad about him today. Let's talk about Josh Allen, MVP candidate. 11 to 18, 154, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Winner. You're not going to talk bad about him. Can we look beyond the layer of winning and losing? If we're going to really jump on one person's name, that's not just about the win and loss column. That's about how they individually played. Cam Newton is working with nothing and trying to do something.
Like me.
Coming up at the top of the hour, you ain't lying. The Cowboys have lost 3 straight, and the trade deadline is tomorrow. We'll tell you what's next for Dallas. Shut up, Acho. But first, Carson Wentz beat the Cowboys despite his 4 turnovers. Yup. We'll tell you if he proved anything in last night's win. Next, speak for yourself. Presented by Acho.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Carson Wentz and the Eagles have now won back-to-back games. Yeah, I said it, Marcellus. Back-to-back games for the first time this season after beating the Cowboys last night. But yes, there were some obstacles along the way. One fumbled twice, added to his league lead with 2 more interceptions. After the game, one said, quote, "Too many turnovers, I've got to be better." You do, Wentz, but you got the W, so I ain't mad.
Oh, I knew you were going to say this. Hide behind the W. I'm going to hide behind the W, too. I'm hide behind W.
Yes, you Sal.
What?
Did Carson Wentz prove anything in the win over the Cowboys last night?
Proved how sorry he is.
Come on, bro, don't do this.
He proved how overpaid he is. You went blow to blow.
You don't mean that.
With Ben DiNucci? The Nucci man? You went out there with the Nucci man and let him ball toe-to-toe with you and your Carson Wentz? Oh, this is disgusting. I have so many takes that I'm just going to calm down and give them to you slice by slice. One, let's just put the umbrella on this. This is the NFC East, so the only thing that's certain is uncertainty. But there is now starting to look like there's one guarantee in the NFC East, that overpaid Carson Wentz will deliver and show you that he is not a franchise quarterback anymore. All those days of winning the MVP before injury are long behind Carson Wentz. This dude put up a worse stat line against the worst defense in NFL history than DiNucci, man. It's insane what I saw out there. He's 30th in passer rating, party people, 31st in completion percentage, party people, 29th in passing yards at attempt, party people, and the most giveaways. 4 straight games under 60% completion percentage. This dude has only won 3 games, and you want to hide behind the W's. Well, go ahead and eat your W's, Jameis Winston. Let me tell you about...
Fix your finger, okay? Your finger crooked. Fix your finger.
Hey, when you're really from the West Side, you throw it up different. All right, let me just let you know, though. But no, for real, I'm going to end my lap on this.
What's up, bro?
He's won 3 games, and that's the only salvation he has. But guess what the names are? Danucci Maine, yesterday, Daniel Jones, and Nick Mullins. Acho, the floor is yours.
Hey, bro, number one. You can't choose who you play. I can't choose who you roll up out there, but my job is to beat who I play against. Now,
be somebody good.
Let me start as an analyst with the realistic take.
I like this.
I'm going to start with the realistic take. What did Carson Wentz prove? He proved that this is who we're going to get all season.
What is that?
A lot of turnovers, but some good plays, too. Like, he proved that he's who we're going to see. It's not going to change. Marcellus, people told me, they said, Acho, don't let this money change you.
Okay.
Don't let this money change you.
Jeez.
But I realized, Sal, money doesn't change you. It exposes you.
Okay,
it exposes who you really are. See, if you're a selfless, giving type of individual, you get money, you're just going to be more selfless.
Okay.
If you're already prideful and arrogant and a prick, you get money. You're just going to be more prideful, arrogant, and more of a prick. If you already stingy, you get money. You're still going to be stingy. Money doesn't change you. It exposes you. The Cowboys' defense don't change you. It exposes you. Carson Wentz, you play in the Cowboys defense. It's time now to see who you really are. Are you actually a baller and you just had some bad early on games? Or do you really just struggle? You're hot and cold. Well, we saw yesterday, you know what, Carson Wentz, as much as I wanted you to just be a baller all season, you're really, no, I didn't say that. I didn't say he was a bum. Watch your mouth.
I said it.
He's just hot and cold. He is feast and he is famine. He was a little bit of famine. He was a little bit of famine, but when his team needed him, he was also a little bit of feast, okay?
Stop. He's not hot and cold. He's hot garbage. And be real about it. And you know, I'm not even talking about top layer garbage. When you first go in the can, you throw your bag in there. I'm talking about the bottom. You know that little pool of water that's like white, green, yellow, and gray? Like that garbage juice. Like this, you know why? I'm not even going to waste time on this one. We got to bring in Bucky Brooks right now. Fox NFL analyst, and I'm going to get to you, Acho, because I see your face over there. Bucky, did Carson Wentz prove anything in the win over the Cowboys before we let loose on him?
Hold on, Marcellus. Look. I'm doing this pescatarian thing, more vegetarian than anything. And, you know, when you are a vegetarian, you eat all these veggies, and it makes you go to the bathroom, and you have to poo-poo. So, let me squirt this poo-poo. Because last night, when I was watching the game, I had to squirt the poopery around Carson Wentz because it was so boo-boo. It was so bootylicious to watch. But I'm not going to call it bootylicious. This is what I'm going to call it.
What?
Grotesque, abysmal, disgusting. That's the quarterback play that I saw. Because there's a quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles that is #1 in giveaways, #1 in interceptions, #1 in sacks. And yet, here we are talking about him and propping him up as if Carson Wentz is going to turn it around. And all it does, it makes my stomach hurt like it hurt 10 minutes ago. And so I'm looking at Carson Wentz, and I'm just wondering, when are we going to pull the plug? Because if we're over here campaigning and co-signing for Cam Newton and all the things that Cam Newton has done, we got to bring that same energy with Carson Wentz. So I can't wait to hear the ever so eloquent Emmanuel Acho defend his boy, hot garbage boy.
Number one, y'all, please stop mentioning Cam and Carson. Cam, 0-3 his last 3 starts. Carson, he just won his last 2 games. Cam, no touchdown passes in recent memory. Carson, my dog has 8 total touchdowns.
Hey, Cam ain't played Danucci yet.
But I digress. Let me get to my point. Here's what y'all don't understand, people. Sometimes, big bro Sal, you gotta walk past the basic tables and walk to high limits. Y'all follow where I'm going. See, if you're at the basic tables, table maximum might be $50 or $25. You can't do anything with that. You're not gonna win a lot. You're not gonna lose a lot. You're just gonna keep sitting there playing quarters, playing $25, hoping you can do something. But then when you realize it's time to make money, you walk into high limits. The lights are bright. They got drinks waiting on you. I don't drink, though, but they got drinks waiting on you. And you can play $500 minimums. You might lose it all real quick, but you might make some money real fast. That is Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is a high-limit table. Carson Wentz is the type of person where it's like, you know what? I got mortgage this due tomorrow, okay, and this won't be late. I got to make my mortgage right now. I'm going to go to high limits because Carson Wentz, he might win it all real quick. The Cowboys were up yesterday going into the second half. Carson Wentz came around, hit Fulgham, corner of the end zone, touchdown. Carson Wentz might win it all for you real quick, or you might lose it real quick. Here's the problem with you, Bucky Brooks, and the problem with you, Marcellus. All y'all know in life are the basic tables. Y'all walk in, oh, it's the basic tables. Oh, that $25 minimum, is there a seat? Is there a seat? Emmanuel Acho walks in, and I go straight to the back. High limits, baby. Somebody bring me a Shirley Temple. No alcohol. That's Carson Wentz.
Oh, man.
And look, I got you because since you don't drink alcohol, I co-sign on it. But you know what you drink every time you're sipping on that Carson Wentz juice? Some prune juice like my grandma used to reference. Because what it's going to do, it's going to clean out your system because that is what he's producing. Boo-boo. Every time he steps onto the field, I'm just getting these little droplets of boo-boo. Turnovers left and right. I can't understand what it is I'm looking at. And oh, by the way, can we please quit talking about him as if he wasn't MVP? He doesn't have any hardware behind him. He doesn't have anything on the mantle. He is a guy that was the best that never was. And I'm looking at him, and I'm just wondering, the more that we see number 2 trot onto the field, Jalen Hurts. And you notice they let Jalen Hurts pass the other night. They let him throw a quick out, and it was completed. And I'm just wondering, how long can Doug Peterson look at the film with the team and just look at his one quarterback throw it to the other team? Twice to Trayvon Diggs, by the way. And he's looking at his other quarterback who takes care of the ball, does all the right things. I'm just wondering how much longer, Acho, before we pull the plug on the Carson Wentz
Jalen Hurts threw a quick out, and then he was quickly out the game, back onto the sideline. Let me just drop a fact on y'all before Marcellus. I could feel some ignorance, some vibrations of ignorance coming from this way. So let me drop a fact on y'all. All is well with Carson Wentz that ends well. He is best when his back is against the wall. I got a full screen because you might not believe me. Look at Carson Wentz in the second half since week 5 against the Steelers, against the Ravens, against the Giants when down, against the Cowboys. Does that say he's first in passing touchdowns in the second half? Does that say he's first in passing plus rushdown? Does that say he's second in passing and rushing? Does that say his team is third in points per game when he's trailing? So, yes, Carson Wentz does push you into the ditch. I'm not sitting here lying to you, Sal. I'm not lying to you, Bucky. He pushes you into the ditch. But you know what else he does? Hey, let me lend you a hand. I'm going to get you out.
Hey, lend you a hand. You got some of that trash juice on that suit. That's what's going on right here. You ain't recognizing who's the culprit. Talk about it ends well with Carson Wentz. No, it doesn't. Put up his January stats if it ends well for Carson Wentz. We only going to see 1 quarter of production all the years he's been in the league and only 1 pass completion. So it doesn't end well for you, Acho. And one more thing. You talking all this money talk. $50 maximums is a lot of money for a lot of people out there. I think that money getting to you, Acho. You said it wasn't getting to you, but I digress. Let's talk about who Carson Wentz really is, because the only way you really understand how bad he's playing is to have perspective. You hear the name Carson Wentz, and we all get enamored. We all go back to 2017 and think about that. We all also look at this franchise as winning the Super Bowl with a lot of contributions in the regular season from that same Carson Wentz. But I'm going to jack Acho, who jacks Colin Cowherd, and give you a blind resume for perspective of who Carson Wentz really is. Look at this. That's Carson Wentz on the left. 15 to 27, 123, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 61 passer rating, 4 times sack. Yep. Somebody outplayed him on the right. I wonder who that could be, because his passer rating's higher. Let's see who that could be. Danucci man up in there. Danucci man went out there and outperformed Carson Wentz. But that's not even the most glaring statistical comparison. Look at the bottom. Carson Wentz makes $32 million a year. Danucci Maine only makes $147K. Thousands. Can I answer you this, Acho? Without even asking you this. I'm going to answer you this. Do you know that Carson Wentz makes twice as much as Danucci Maine, plus change, every single week of the year than Danucci Maine makes in the entire year? Wait a minute. I get 2x plus what you get in a year every week to get outperformed by you against the worst defense in NFL history? Acho, please retort.
I mean, one, I can, to a degree, feel DiNucci, because I looked at your checks, Marcellus, okay, and I'm getting paid a little less to outperform you on this every day, if I can be honest. But here's what I know about you two, and Bucky, let me go to you before I go back to this ignorant
I thought you was at the big tables in the back.
Let me go to you, Bucky.
Where'd that go?
Bucky, I got a question, Buck. Would you rather $100 covered in mud or a bag of poop covered in perfume? $100 covered in mud.
What?
Or a bag of poop covered in mud.
This analogy has me thrown. I may have to go
what
with
would
the
you
bag
rather?
of poop.
Hell,
Based on
You're a
what
liar.
your guys go.
You're
I
a
may
liar.
go with the bag of poop. I may go with the bag of
I don't know what
poop.
Bucky's affinity to poop is, but he's lying. The fact of the matter is, we all up here would rather $100 covered in mud. I would rather an ugly win than a pretty loss. And Marcellus
there you go
and Bucky
again.
Brooks are up here
Daniel Jones, Nick Mullins.
gloating about pretty losses.
Dan DiNucci.
So Carson Wentz has some ugly wins. It's still
He
a
has
win.
no other wins.
It's a win.
You say ugly wins like he has pretty wins. He has no other wins.
But what's the operative word, Sal, is win.
I understand,
I
but
don't
we're talking
care
about
pretty or
Carson
ugly.
Wentz. We're talking about Carson Wentz.
Carson wins.
Can you
Carson
please
wins. Can you start calling him Carson wins? Not Carson Wentz. Carson wins.
Laser your focus in on Carson Wentz, who is getting the highest amount of cash this year for anybody in the NFL. But you're leading only in the bad category. So how can you make it make sense? There's no way they continue to pay this guy at this price point and continue to get this low level of performance in his individual evaluation. Wins or losses, you still get evaluated by how you contribute to that. And Carson Wentz is not doing any of that.
I mean, Marcellus, let's be honest. If we took the name off the back of the jersey, if we took the name off the back of the jersey and we just stacked it up and did a true evaluation of the NFC East, he's the worst quarterback in the NFC East based on how he's played. And there's nothing that we can do to absolve that. Worse than Kyle Allen, worse than Daniel Jones. And I mean, if we're going to be honest, I would think that Andy Dalton is playing better than him.
Come on.
And we haven't seen
Watch
Andy
your mouth.
Dalton play much.
You watch your mouth,
And
Bucky Brooks.
That's
You gonna stop that.
I mean, that's what we're saying. He is the worst quarterback in the NFC East. And we can use every metric, individual or team, to validate that.
Here is y'all's problem. Here is y'all's problem. For whatever reason with Wentz, you'll only look at the bad. Marcellus is a resident. He's a resident optimist.
Where else can I look?
Marcellus is a resident optimist. But when it comes to Carson Wentz, all of a sudden he only sees the glass is half empty instead of seeing it as half full. So Carson Wentz has 12 interceptions. Terrible, abysmal, awful, atrocious. But he also has 12 tugs. He got 12 touchdown passes for you too now. He got some rushing touchdowns for you too now. If the Eagles would have lost, it would have been Carson Wentz's fault. 100%, I'm taking that. But the Eagles won. And outside of that call that the Eagles got, a lucky break, they shouldn't have got the fumble return on defense for a touchdown, it was Carson Wentz's fault that they won. It was his fault that they would have lost. But they didn't. So can y'all stop talking to me about wouldas and shouldas and couldas and Ben Gucci DiNucci, Marcellus? He doesn't deserve a nickname because he lost, okay? Losers don't get nicknames.
I don't know about that. We all been to the post-game party, win or lose. There are table reservations there. And Carson Wentz used to have the head table with the rope all around it. No matter how you played in that game, you can't sit at that table. That's Carson Wentz's table. Even after a win, Carson Wentz tried to walk to that same table last night. You know what they looking at him like? Hey, dog, you ain't the reason why we here, bro. You ain't the reason why we celebrating right now. Carson Wentz almost gave that game away. But DiNucci will walk to a situation quietly and group text his boys. Hey, I'll play Carson Wentz. How'd that feel? That's a building block on the resume for your first start ever in the NFL. And my last point is this.
What's your last point?
All these giveaways. You keep talking about, oh, he only has 12 interceptions. Okay, but he got tugs. Tug at this. How about a giveaway? How about a giveaway in every single game this year and multiple giveaways in 5 of his 8 starts? That is, as Andre 3000 said, ooh.
Let me say something that is unpopular because clearly you all like feelings over
that Carson Wentz is good. Say that.
Daniel Jones, quarterback for the New York Football Giants. He got 5 touchdowns on the season. Dwayne Haskins, who's now on the bench, he had 4 before getting pulled. Then you got Kyle Allen. He has 4 touchdowns on the season. The Cowboys, Ben DiNucci, y'all saw what he did. Andy Dalton, y'all saw what he did.
Side on.
Carson Wentz has 17 touchdowns on the season. Don't speak his name with the likes of Daniel Jones and his 5 touchdowns. Don't speak Carson Wentz's 17 touchdowns with the like of Kyle Allen and his 4, or Dwayne Haskins, who is now on the bench. Don't speak Carson Wentz's name with the likes of Gucci Danucci. Put some respect on Carson Wentz's name, the bad and the good.
I noticed he didn't say Dak. I noticed he didn't say Dak out there.
Stop making all that money if you ain't gonna ball.
Look, all I'm gonna say is this. If y'all come with me to the casinos, I'm walking the high limits. Y'all can stay at the little tables if y'all want to.
Oprah money.
Coming up, the Saints-Bears game turned into a boxing match. Ooh, we gonna break it all down for you. That's next. Play it with your chest. Speak for yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. The Saints beat the Bears yesterday, and everyone is talking about what happened in the third quarter. Bears wide receiver Javon Wims punched Saints safety Chauncey Gardner-Johnson twice and was ejected. Wims explained his actions, saying Gardner-Johnson spit on him and ripped out his mouthpiece. But today, Gardner-Johnson denied spitting on him. Well, the NFL just announced that Wims has been suspended without pay for 2 games. Ooh, Acho, what's your reaction to the altercation situation?
You know, bro, I had to break this down as an analyst like we break down everything else. And my reaction is this. We have to stop with all the lazy takes. Oh, he would have broke his hand. He could have broke his hand. Why would you punch a guy with the helmet on? I've seen plenty of fights, fist to fist, 2 pieces, no biscuits, and I ain't never seen no hands broken. Okay, I ain't never seen no hands broken, so can we stop with the he could have broke his hand outrage? Javon Wims, I feel him. I feel him.
You feel what?
I feel him. Here's the thing, bro. What we don't see is, we don't see Gardner.
How you know?
Because we didn't see it.
I saw you saw it, but we didn't see it. Oh, okay, Acho, continue.
Gardner-Johnson, the person who Javon Wims hit with that 2-piece, he tried to poke at Anthony Miller's eye. We're pulling it up. You're going to see. He tried to poke at Anthony Miller's eye. So Gardner-Johnson, or Wims came in and said, I'm going to hit you with this quick bang, bang. This quick 2-piece like I told you. The difference is, how dare we come in and praise Janoris Jenkins for having his teammates back, but we crucify and criticize Wims for having his teammate Anthony Miller's back. But let's not miss the point.
Okay.
The point is very simple. Wims was calculated with his attack. He approached him. He turned the corner. He either tugged at his chain or pulled his mouthpiece out, said, I want you to feel these blows. Bomb, bomb. Hit him with a quick 2-piece. But here is what I want y'all to know, because I'm going to break this down like I do other tape.
Do it.
He open fist hit him, Marcellus. He wasn't going to break his hand. He was calculated. He was tactical with them punches. It's football, bro. Violent sport, violent game. I don't necessarily have an issue with it. Suspend him for that game, sure, kick him out. But do you need to suspend him for 2 more games? Punishment don't fit the crime.
You know what doesn't fit this entire situation? Logic, because it makes no sense. One week I see the Dallas Cowboys not fight. Oh my God, won't y'all go out there and fight and throw hands? This week they actually throw hands. Oh my God, he's gonna break his hand. And what are they doing?
Thank you.
What do you mean, thank you?
I didn't say that. No, I'm not.
Oh, you were one of always for the throwing. You mad at me? I won't fight for you over a burger at the Waldorf.
And I wanted Wims to fight. I said Wims should have fought.
Fought for what? We didn't even see what he's fighting for. And then he spit on me. That's other than using a racial slur. I mean, everybody always goes to that one. Hey, he spit on me.
I knew that was coming.
Either he got spat on or it's a racial slur. Yeah, okay, big dog. Look. This happened for a different reason, and I don't really give a damn what the reason was. Now, as my coach would say, every time he saw a fight, he'll break it up. He'd say, all right, y'all, how much and what's her name? You know why? Because all fights are over money or a woman. That's all we used to see now. I don't know about your generation right now. Y'all might be fighting over gamer passwords, and oh my God, he unfollowed me on IG. Who knows? But this is some sucker soft stuff. Let me talk to you, Wims. I'm from Compton, homie. Let me tell you how you're going to throw up if you're going to throw it up.
What's up, Sal?
First of all,
what's up, Sal?
You can't come in there hot and cold. You can't come in there like
I'm hit him with a 2.
Wait a minute. Let's walk through this as analysts. He walked over to him hot as hell. Hey, homie, got a problem with you. And then he went like, excuse me, sir, can you turn around?
Get his attention.
I'm about to sucker punch you. And then he sucker punches. Wait a minute, make it make sense. Either you hot as hell and you ain't got your right mind, you ready to throw them things, or you really ain't that hot because you walked up to him and say, excuse me, can you look at me square up? Which one makes sense, Acho? I don't understand how this went down, but we got somebody who could maybe help us understand this a little more. A scrapper in his day. Let's bring in Fox NFL analyst LeVar Arrington, known for throwing them hands. So, LeVar, what's your reaction to the altercation situation?
You know, I blame Menace to Society on this one. I disagree with you. Throwing out Compton like that, let's go back to the movie, right? When Kane was chilling in the crib and Chauncey, ironically, coincidentally enough, was going at Jada Pinkett on the couch and was being disrespectful, it became a premeditated act. I can tell you this, for right or for wrong, when he took old dog's strap and went and started strapping that man down on that couch, it was because Chauncey had did something, all right? And it crossed the line. It violated something, and that's why Kane came the way he did. The same exact way Wims. Wims, as you mentioned, Acho, was premeditated on what it was that he did. He wasn't sitting there being a sucker for putting that setup hand in the way.
Yeah,
he was getting him lined up. Coach. Hey, let me put this hand up out there so you can turn your head exactly where I want you to put your head, so that I can open hand slap you upside your head
LeVar's ever given us,
and let you know why I feel the way that I feel. For right or for wrong, Chauncey did something he shouldn't have did.
Maybe.
He's guilty. That's why he didn't fight back.
Somebody hit him.
He was guilty. That's why he didn't fight back.
He's guilty because somebody hit him.
He was guilty of something.
Let me tell y'all,
I don't know what he did.
LA, we pick and choose. We pick and choose who we want to defend. I don't get it. I can't make it make sense. We pick and choose who we want to defend if they retaliate to protect their teammate. To Marcellus's point, all last week we were saying the Cowboys players should have stood up for Dak. They shouldn't have let Bostic off the field after cheap shot and Andy Dalton. That should have never happened. But then Anthony Miller, receiver for the Bears, almost gets his eye gouged out. Can we run the clip, Pete? Can we please run the clip? That is Gardner-Johnson poking hand through the face mask into the eye. So the next play, the next little series, Wims says, hey, on site. And y'all know what on site means. He says on site. I ain't about to do no talking. I'm about that action, boss. I respect it. And here's the thing, Sel. Wims didn't sucker punch him because Wims ain't no sucker. See, Wims could have snuck him. LA, you nodding because you know. Wims could have came up and just been like, you know what? No words. I'm just going to sneak you side of your helmet. He said this, excuse me, sir. You're about to catch this fade.
Like you just suckered LeVar out of this segment.
He said, excuse me, sir. I got these two hands for you. I respect Wims more for not sucker punching him.
You've been in LA too much, too long. I heard it. Hey, I got these hands for you, homie. That's how we sound out here. And let me say one thing about you. Y'all are two fighters. I know LeVar is, and I'm hearing more and more as I work with Acho, he ready for that too. On site is a call for him, not me. If y'all say on site to me, I'm thinking about a construction place where we're going to go check out the property. I'm going to make sure our investment is intact. I am not on site about to throw these hands. It's not happening. You don't have the support you think you have. No backup from me. Let me tell y'all why you need to trust me, because I'm not a fighter. So y'all trusting your emotions and you're trying to put it all together with circumstantial evidence, and he's guilty because he came up to me. He was a gentleman. Let me tell you, since I was a bystander to many fights growing up, let me tell you why I know that this one is a little fishy. Wims, if you really felt violated...
a bystander. I wasn't in it, but I was watching, studying it.
Come on, man. If you really feel violated, I have never seen something premeditated come with a pause. That pause makes me pause.
That's fair.
If it's premeditated, you so hot 100.
That's a good breakdown.
You coming in.
That's a good breakdown.
I got something for that.
He came in and said, excuse me, you know you offended my friend, and that really got to me. That is not premeditated and hot as he tried to play it off. And then on top of all that, let's be real, none of those punches had impact. None of them affected him. Watch this one.
Watch the second one.
Right,
that second one he felt that second one.
Make it make sense to me, big dog, because right now I'm laying a sucker move.
What I'm trying to tell you is that he had to really think about, see, if you're a fighter and you're looking at the body language of Wims, whatever it was, Wims was so offended by it. He actually knew, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get suspended.
It was worth the risk.
I'm going to get fined. Those pauses, Marcellus, he had decided this is going to happen, and I don't care what the result of it, the end result of it's going to be. I have been so something disrespected him, something tormented Wims so much in his mind that he had to go. I gotta go over here, and I'll never be able to live with myself if I don't do what I just did right now.
If Wims wouldn't have done
bottom line.
if Wims wouldn't have done that, we should all respect Wims less. As passionate as Wims was about that two-piece sale, if he would have denied himself that two-piece, which clearly was burning inside his heart.
He had to debate it. That was debate.
And here's the difference, Marcellus. You talk about it wasn't a crime of passion. It was premeditated. See, a crime of passion, you just start going, hey,
right.
But this was calculated.
Calculated,
like law-abiding citizen when you know
Acho.
exactly what you're going to do. Talk to me, L.A.
That pause was Marcellus talking to Wims. That action was LeVar and Acho said, if you don't go over here and open hand slap this man and let him know that this is about respect first, I don't know what it is. He had all three of us doing a Speak For Yourself segment in his head
the moment.
before he went upside that man's head.
Wait a minute.
That means we won the debate. Me and Acho won the debate.
Hey, I got one more pushback. Hey, look, I am a defense attorney by heart, by nature. Even Acho points it out. I'll find me one little thing and I'll run with it and expose it all. And I'm going to have to do it right here. I just caught you, LeVar Arrington, on the witness stand telling us exactly what this was. You said that he walked over to him and he wasn't thinking, right? Cognitive.
No, he was thinking.
He was
thinking.
Oh, he was thinking.
Yes.
Okay, so he walked over to him thinking, premeditated and calculated, right? And in that moment, all of a sudden, he was overran by emotions. All of a sudden, he was just, look, my thinking has to subside, and it's time for my emotions to take over. Is that what you're trying to say happened in this moment?
No, that is not what you're trying to say. Is my words. That was not the reasoning that I gave. The reasoning that I gave was he was thinking through what disrespected him so bad with his teammate, so bad that in the moment he saw that man like he's running the route. He sees him over there. He is within his range, and he goes over there and he said, "You know what? If I don't go do this now, I probably won't ever do it." So whatever it is that was in his mind at that moment in time, he had to go do that for his own emotional, his own mental conclusion of what took place. I'll never be able to live with myself if I don't go over here and put my hands on this man.
Oh, okay.
That's what he was thinking. Whether right or wrong, that's what he was thinking.
I have a question for anybody out there who needs to prove something for somebody else. Are you really proving it for them? Or you're proving it to yourself? Because to me...
He's proving that to himself.
Oh, no, if you prove it for yourself, why the violation didn't happen to you? That guy could defend his own.
Hey, bro.
He could defend himself.
Unlike you, Marcellus,
I don't need y'all to fight for his.
Unlike you, Marcellus, he down for his teammates. Unlike you, Marcellus, if he going to the Waldorf, he knows that he gonna have his back.
For him.
Okay?
Mess with him. I'll ride for him. I'll die for him.
Please don't cover up your insecurities by using me as your reasoning to go out there and prove something for me. You ain't got to do all that,
Marcellus is going to spectate. Some are going to spectate. Some going to jump up in it. I don't condone it, but I would do it. I'm just being honest.
I hear y'all, but I'm not going out with y'all.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Off of this last segment. Y'all are losing it. Coming up,
Don't
speaking
worry
of
about
losing it, Baker Mayfield, boy, got the loss yesterday. But we'll tell you if he can still be a franchise quarterback next. If he could fight like Acho and Arrington, maybe he could. Speak for yourself.
Welcome back to Speak For Yourself. Well, last week, Baker Mayfield threw a career-high 5 touchdown passes. Yesterday was totally different. Baker's Browns scored just 6 points, and he threw for only 122 yards and a home loss to the Raiders. Cleveland is still over 500 this year, but Baker said this team is not satisfied with that. Y'all take a listen.
Not anywhere close to where we want to be. We have a 5-3 record. Should be a lot better, and we believe that, and that's why our locker room is pissed off. So we believe in this locker room, and we're going to continue to get better, and hopefully go on a streak right after this bye week. Like I said, get healthy and focus on getting better. We know what we can improve, and after we watch this film, we'll do that even more so.
Bucky's back with us, but Marcellus, you talk to me. Can Baker still prove that he's a franchise quarterback this season?
Nope. He cannot, because the best indicator of his future behavior is his past behavior.
Talk about it.
And I'm going to date myself for you, Acho, but probably not Bucky up here. There was a song growing up that used to say, curiosity, I want to know. Well, you know what? No one's curious about who you are, Baker Mayfield, because they know who you are. Inconsistency. That's who Baker Mayfield is. This is the same dude that last week won Offensive Player of the Week. And how does he come to support that Offensive Player of the Week in his next performance? Oh, Just another game where he throws under 50% of his passes. His fourth game completing fewer than 50% of his passes since 2019, which makes that the most in the NFL. And worse than Baker Mayfield, who I thought was going to play better without OBJ. Remember all y'all out there tweeting that, talking that, thinking that? Oh, he's going to be better without OBJ because now he doesn't have to force it to him. You know what's happening now? Because there's no one to take the top off this defense and not enough speed on the perimeter. Now they're crowding them, and they didn't run the ball as effectively as they had in weeks past. So now an offense that looks at its quarterback as being inconsistent and pretty much below average is now looking at his unit as regressing. Last year, this offensive unit, with all its issues, was ranked 22nd. This year, 27th ranked. And that's after taking care of Baker Mayfield, shoring up the offensive line, making sure you have all the weapons. Pro bowlers at wide receiver, tight end, running backs. You got all that you need. And Baker Mayfield is going the wrong way. So looking at Baker Mayfield going forward, he's only going to prove one more thing to me, how inconsistent he can be.
I respect that, big dog. Baker is not going to prove that he's a franchise quarterback this season, and he cannot. Again, it's very simple. Baker Mayfield is not bad enough to get benched, but he's not good enough to put the Browns where they need to be. I'm going to be sick. As someone who was drafted by the Browns and wishes well on the Browns, I will be sick if the Browns go 9-7 and don't make the playoffs. Because this is a playoff-talented team that is being limited and inhibited by Baker Mayfield. Baker, he balls once, but can we see you do it again? Yeah. I got this full screen just to put this in context for y'all. Bengals or bust. Look at Baker Mayfield against the Bengals. 5-1. 17-7 passing touchdowns, interceptions, completion percentage, etc. But the very next game,
what happened?
He's 1-4, 8 touchdowns to 7 picks, falls in every statistical category. Baker, we can no longer continue to watch you play well at times, but then struggle the other times. I look at it like this, Sel, and you'll know this better than I. Early on in Baker Mayfield's career, we applauded him for doing some things, like you do with a toddler when they first learn how to walk. It's like, oh, you can walk now. That's so cute.
Yeah, right.
But by the time you're about 3 or 4, falling down isn't cute anymore. We want to see you walk, and hopefully you can start to run sooner or later. Right. Baker Mayfield, by the time you're in year 3, throwing several picks and losing games, 122 yards, it's not cute anymore. You know, your rookie year winning 6 games for the Browns, 64% completion percentage, kudos to you. But as you get older, like with a child, the bar gets raised. We're not going to applaud you for walking. We're not even going to applaud you for jogging. It's time to see you sprint, Baker Mayfield.
You know, Acho, you bring up a good point. Both of you guys bring up good points because Baker Mayfield was drafted #1 overall. Like, let's let marinate for a minute. When you're drafted #1 overall, you're a guy that we're supposed to have visions of seeing you wear a gold jacket at some point of your career. At the end of your career, we should celebrate you as one of the best to ever do it. And in my experience, when I look at quarterbacks, they come in 2 categories. They're trucks or they're trailers. Either they're trucks where they carry the squad or they're trailers, the squad carries them. And even though he's a #1 overall pick, I think we can go and look at the Browns and say that he is a high-end trailer. He is something that has to have everything around him set up for him. And even then, it may not go his way. Because when I look at this Browns team, the Browns have given him everything. A+ skill set at wide receiver, A+ running game, a new fortified offensive line. And yet here we are looking at Baker Mayfield, 25th in passer rating, 26th in completion percentage, 25th in yards per attempt, and 29th in passing yards per game. At some point, we got to call a spade what a spade is. And he is not a franchise quarterback, and the Cleveland Browns need to go back and do some more shopping.
Yeah, they're in an impossible situation, and they know it. And Kevin Stefanski, I'm certain that he's not going to go out on the Baker Mayfield sword. Sooner or later, he's going to make it known that he has to separate himself from what Baker Mayfield is doing inconsistently on the football field. Baker Mayfield being the #1 overall pick, no way should this franchise be in a place where they have to cover up for your issues, cover up for your mistakes. But they are, and they're in a situation where they have to make excuses for you just to allow you the opportunities to play yourself into good graces and hopefully live up to the #1 overall pick billing. But that's not happening. Not happening when your passer rating is 25th, not happening when your completion percentage is 26th, and it's not happening when your passing yards per game is 29th. So Baker Mayfield, despite having lipstick on this pig, the best dress you could ever put on Baker Mayfield's game, it's still not looking good. So what's next for them? They're not going to pick up your fifth-year option. They're going to look at you and say you're on a prove-it deal situation next year. And I think even in success, there's enough of the resume of inconsistency where you wouldn't even believe in that. And that's an ugly place to be when you're a low-end starter or maybe a high-end backup, because then what's your worth and value to other franchises?
Sel, you said what's next, and I'll tell you what's next, because I'm starting to have a little deja vu, as if we've seen this Baker Mayfield story play out before in the likes of one Jameis Winston. Nearly identical stats. They both, through their first 38 games, 17 wins through the first 37-38. Passing touchdowns, 60 for Jameis, 64 for Baker. Giveaways, 47-46. Completion percentage, nearly identical. Passer rating, absolutely identical. Where does Jameis Winston find himself now? Well, that's where Baker will probably find himself soon enough. Coming up in our big story, the Cowboys have lost 3 straight. And the trade deadline is tomorrow. Jerry Jones, what you gonna do? I'm gonna tell you what it all means for Dallas. That's next. Speak for yourself.
You're watching Speak for Yourself. Marcellus Wiley up here, Swag War champion this Monday. Emmanuel Acho.
Marcellus, you can't proclaim yourself a champion.
Oh,
Other people have to tell you.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, it's not working? Well, speaking of someone who would do that, let's head to Dallas for our big story where the Cowboys have now lost 3 straight games. Yucky. Rookie Ben DiNucci got his first start last night against the Eagles, but the offense is seriously struggling. Cowboys have only scored 22 points in the last 3 games without Dak Prescott. You hear that, Acho? After the game, Mike McCarthy said, quote, "We're running out of time." Speaking of time, the trade deadline is tomorrow, and all eyes will be on Dallas to see if they make a move. Bucky is back, but Acho, where do the Cowboys go from here?
My dog, gentlemen, you got to blow the whole thing up. What do I mean? 3 pivotal points of where Dallas should go from here. Bucky, fix your face. Bucky. 3 places the Cowboys should go from here. Number 1, the players who may be overstaying their welcome, figure that out. Sean Lee. He ain't played a full season since 2015. He's a freak when he's out there, but the fact of the matter is he's old now. He's a little bit banged up. What are we doing with him? Tyron Smith, you want to keep playing or are you too hurt to keep playing? You were a first ballot, surefire Hall of Famer, one of the best left tackles of the 2010s, if not the best left tackle of the 2010s. But the fact of the matter is you also haven't played a full season since 2016. The Cowboys have 1 foot in last decade and 1 foot into the next decade. They need both feet in the same decade to succeed.
I love that.
The second thing, Mike Nolan, go ahead and get rid of him. Can we pull the Band-Aid off? I don't know why Jerry Jones doesn't like administering medicine, as if the coach isn't grown enough to digest it. But the defensive coordinator, got to go ahead and move on. But the last thing I'm going to say before the trade deadline tomorrow, Michael Gallup, you should probably shop him. The fact of the matter is, Cowboys, you'll have 3 amazing receivers, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper. But a great receiver is no good if you don't have an O-line to protect him, you don't have a quarterback to get him the ball, you don't have a defense that will stop anybody. Michael Gallup, I would probably move him and do something to shore up the rest of your team. That's what the Cowboys need to do. Those are my 3 objectives. Blow the thing up because you're not making the playoffs as it stands anyway.
Oh, since we want to go with 3 objectives, let me come up here and try to give you 3 objectives for my issues with the Cowboys. All right, where do you go from here? 1, you have to understand that you guys will be in a better position if you had a better backup quarterback. I'm not blaming Andy Dalton for that hit, but damn, John Bostic, look what you have done to the Cowboys. That was a game they could have won yesterday with a serviceable quarterback. Look, Ben DiNucci did outperform Carson Wentz, even though he didn't have touchdowns. I see your face over there, Acho. But that said, what a capable backup, and that was a part of the plan. Get you the best backup in the NFL, which Andy Dalton was. And then what happens? Andy Dalton gets hurt, so now you're in a position where you're starting a rookie 7th rounder in his first game against the Eagles. So that's 1. Solidify your backup. Have insurance policies if you want to talk about for this team. 2, Ezekiel Elliott. Where have you gone? Somehow, some way, brother. We got to get it out of you, or we're going to have to get that money back from you. Simple as that. Look at this. In Ezekiel's first 2 years, we never saw him go more than 3 games without 100 rushing yards in any performance. Last year, a little more, 5 straight games, including 6 of his last 8 to finish that year. But this year, so far, not one 100-yard rushing performance. So that makes it 8 straight. And if you want to go back to the last part of last year, that makes it 14 of 16 games. Ezekiel Elliott has not been Ezekiel Elliott. That's an issue. But the grander issue of all of these is, the grandest of all is the culture. We have to redefine this culture. And with that comes some patience. So unlike Acho, I'm not blowing this thing up because the seeds are being planted right now in terms of growing their culture. I remind you once again that Mike McCarthy is the same coach that inherited a 4-12 bunch, turned them to 8-8. 13-3, a couple of years later, Super Bowl champions. I remind you that I showed you a full screen earlier in this show where to build a dynasty, you have a Bill Walsh that goes 2-14. You have a Jimmy Johnson that goes 1-15. You have a Bill Belichick that goes 5-11 in the first year of those dynasties. So if you want to really build something, allow the seeds. Have a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Have a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Dak Prescott. Allow the seeds to be planted and allow them time to grow.
Hey, Marcellus, you brought up a great point because you brought up the coach. And Acho, you having all these plans like this 10-point bullet plan to fix the team is really simple if you ask me. And I'm not going to ask you to do this because I know you're a very prideful man, and I know it's hard for you sometimes to humble yourself. But I'm just going to ask you simply to admit right now that you now want to take back all those things that you used to say about Dak Prescott. Ooh. Because this same team that was playing in very competitive and close games each and every week, the first 5 weeks of the season with Dak Prescott as the helm, they now have only scored 22 points since he's gone by the wayside. And so I think it's very clear to you, to Jerry Jones, to Stephen Jones, to Mike McCarthy that, you know what? Maybe we did have a high-end quarterback and we were neglecting, and maybe we should issue out that big paycheck so we can retain him because we not only have a guy who is the best quarterback in the division by far, but maybe we were playing with a guy that was emerging as a top 5 quarterback who was making all of these things that you say were stinking, he was making them right. And so maybe it's the acknowledgement that Dak Prescott was better than you, I, and the Dallas Cowboys acknowledged, and then you have to pay him handsomely to make sure that you ensure that he is your quarterback going forward.
First and foremost, the quarterbacks have been atrocious. We can establish that. But again, let's not look at revisionist history. The Cowboys with Dak Prescott still had 1 win. Andy Dalton came in and finished off that Giants game. They still had 3 losses. The Cowboys, since Dak Prescott has been out, they have 3 losses. So let's not act as though the Cowboys went from a 5-0 team to an 0-5 team. Okay, Bucky? Let's get that straight first and foremost. But the biggest issue with the Cowboys outside of culture, because Marcellus Wiley is to a degree correct, and I won't get distracted from the Dak Prescott point, their roster's unbalanced. You got a bunch of studs at receiver. You got a big money running back. Your O-line atrocious. Yes, it's been decimated by injury, but I'm reminded of 2014. I'm on the Eagles. We get a big name free agent in Miles Austin. We are former Cowboys Pro Bowler. We already had a plethora of receivers. The problem was we had no roster balance. So now you got a 32-year-old Miles Austin running down on kickoff. You got a high-paid linebacker in Michael Kendricks. He's running down on kickoff because he was a third-string linebacker at the time. We had no roster balance. Fans, y'all who were watching the games from home, understand, just because you got them big names, you need people to play special teams. You need people to protect. You need somebody to block for Zeke. Otherwise, all those high-profile guys whose jersey you buy, they're all rendered useless, and that's the problem with the Cowboys right now. Big money guys that can't produce because they have holes and they're deficient in other parts of the organization.
Let me jump in because now you want to talk about roster balance because I don't ever hear you say the same argument when I look at the Kansas City Chiefs. Because I look at the Kansas City Chiefs and they have wide receivers for days. Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, Sammy Watkins, Travis Kelce. Oh, they have Clyde Edwards-Helaire running back. And they go and get Le'Veon Bell. Sometimes what you want to do is when you're so good on one side of the ball, you want to build strength on strength. So why would I want to take away from 3 talented wide receivers that we could say is a trio that is uncoverable? Why would I want to remove someone from the backfield when I got Zeke Elliott, when I have a quarterback who is emerging as a top-flight quarterback? Why would I want to weaken that to maybe fortify another area? Nah, you play to your strength. The Kansas City Chiefs, they don't have a dominant defense. They're not winning because of dominant defense. They're winning because their offense is so good that you can't outscore them. So maybe if you're the Cowboys, you build a beast, a juggernaut on offense, fortify the offensive line. That makes you at least good in one area, and then you build up the other area. But you don't weaken a great area to add some pieces to an area that's not as good?
Balance, Bucky, balance.
No, balance doesn't win.
No, you know what?
Balance doesn't win.
That's one of those arguments for the purists. Someone sitting at home listening to us on our podcast, AM radio. Oh, yeah, he's talked about roster balance. That doesn't matter. That is not necessary. We need stars that shine. That's all you need. And in this situation, they didn't have stars that shine yesterday. Look at this. Ezekiel Elliott, 19 carries, 63 yards. Any touchdowns, anybody? Amari Cooper, 1 catch, 5 yards. I understand you were with the third-string quarterback, but still, get involved in the game. You know why? Because let's talk about mental construction and the balance necessary. You can't rely on lesser players in moments like this when you're fighting for your division. Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper. We know Dak's gone, but the stars need to shine in that situation. We saw the defense even have some signs of life, causing 4 turnovers and trying to keep them in this ball game and giving them a halftime lead. But when your stars don't shine, and last time I checked, Ezekiel got 90 million and Amari got 100 million, and they can't even add up to 100 yards in a game that's that meaningful. Come on, man.
But Sel, I gotta push back. I gotta push back on you first, and I'm gonna get to you, Bucky. Sel, your stars can't shine if they're being hindered elsewhere. Like Zeke can't create his own running lanes. He can break tackles, but he can't create his own running lanes. There comes a point, Marcellus, where I've been on the blame Zeke train. I've been on the he cashed in and he checked out. I'm with you. But there also comes a point where I'm like, you know what? Zeke's not that bad. Like, there's just no possible way that Zeke is as bad as he has been playing.
Why?
So then I start looking at the other extracurricular determinants. I start looking at, the offensive line ain't really doing much. To your point about Amari Cooper was 5th in the NFL in receiving yards just 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
So when he has 1 catch, he's not that bad. So you got to start looking around and saying what else is going on. When I talk to you about balance, the best team in the NFL right now, in my opinion, is the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're also the most balanced team in the NFL. We can talk about stars shining bright. Juju Smith led that team yesterday with 67 yards. They don't really have a star on offense. You can call it Big Ben if you want to, the same Big Ben that threw 3 picks last week. Talking about the Kansas City Chiefs, they have the number 10 defense in football. When I look at the Cowboys, yes, Marcellus is correct. Their stars do need to perform. But I'm also like, wait a second. You have major gaping voids at important positions, at safety, at offensive line. Zeke, yes, he needs to do more, but still, he can only do so much. And I'm not even a Zeke defendant.
Stop
I'm
that.
just a realist.
Stop that. That's an argument for somebody who's making middle-class money. Once you make upper-class money, you got to make it happen no matter what's around you. And look, it's not just this sample size of this year or since Dak Prescott's been out of it. I just told you of the last 16 games, that's a full regular season. He's only had over 100 yards twice, and that's through all the offensive line shakeups and through some healthier times for the offensive line last year. He's lost something off the fastball, big dog. His longest carry was 11 yards. Even when there is a running lane, you don't see him making those explosive cuts. You don't see him making that last defender miss. I'm a former running back, and I was not that good. But I did know the position, and I did know when it was time to become a defensive end. You know why? Because I couldn't pop him anymore. When I used to pop him, it was like, okay, and I never had to blame the offensive line in that position. So when I look at them, I need some balance from your argument. I need stars that show up when it matters most, because that's what you're getting paid to do. What's up, Bucky?
So Acho, because we want to go to this balance thing, you threw out the Pittsburgh Steelers being the best team, and so they are the best team. So let's do this argument as it relates to you and your star theory. All their stars are on defense. Their stars are T.J. Watt, Bud Dupree, Cam Hayward, Devin Bush before he got hurt, Minka Fitzpatrick. All of their stars are there. When you look at their offense, they don't have a top 10 player on offense. Maybe if we push Big Ben into that category, but there's no one else that's a top 10 player. And so everyone is doing it by having one side that is loaded and hoping that you're getting.
Let's talk ball for a second, then let's go there. Defense, you're a defender. Sel's a defender. I'm a defender. Defense, you can create your own magic. You can create your own havoc. Offense, you need some help. You can't just have the ball teleport into your hands. Like Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, they can't create their own magic as defensive players can. DeMarcus Lawrence played well yesterday.
Number 4 is a star. Their quarterback is a star, but he's hurt. So that's the biggest issue. You remove the franchise quarterback from anybody. That's what happened.
Tell DeAndre Hopkins that all them years.
Go out the lineup last year for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they went 8-8 because they didn't have their star quarterback. Like, that's the biggest issue. You don't have your quarterback. it is hard to win. There are not many teams that can win except the Philadelphia Eagles when they did it with Nick Foles. That's it. There's no one else that does it.
And it's funny, Bucky, you say that. I always tell Acho about the preview of this year's Super Bowl. Looks like Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay. Last year, they didn't have their quarterback for different reasons. Jameis Winston is not Tom Brady in terms of protecting the football, and that's why they were 7-9. You look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, 8-8. They didn't have Ben Roethlisberger. So it's not just about balancing the roster. It's about having that cherry on top that's going to perform and that star is going to shine bright. You can't be Ezekiel Elliott and not injured. Remember, he's healthy, y'all, and average under 4 yards a carry and get paid $90 million. When you have all of this star power and they don't show up for you, Acho, in the greatest moments, the biggest moments, what can you say about it, big dog? Coming up, Russell Wilson gave a few more reasons why he's the MVP front runner in Sunday's win. We'll tell you if he'll finally get the hardware next. Speak for yourself. DeAndre Hopkins.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Russell Wilson bounced back from last week's 3-interception game with 4 touchdown passes in yesterday's win against the 49ers. Russ increased his league lead to 26 TDs on the season, one shy of Tom Brady's record through 7 games. Wilson has never received an MVP vote, but his teammate DK Metcalf campaigned for him yesterday, saying, quote, that Russ for MVP train is back on tracks. So, Marcel, is this the year that Russell Wilson finally wins MVP?
Nope, he ain't gonna win it. I love how you said back on track. What happened to it? What happened to the train?
One bad week.
Oh, only one chew? Chew. You don't get a chew-chew? Yeah, he's gonna lose it like he finds a way to lose it every single time. And this is not about Russell Wilson playing bad. It's about Russell Wilson at times going from hot to lukewarm. And then a narrative is created by someone who is hot all the way through, and then that person comes and pounces on the MVP. This is what has happened to Russell Wilson 3 times in his career. 2015 with Cam Newton, we talked about that. 15-1 team, what you gonna do against that story and that narrative? 2018, Pat Mahomes, he threw for 50, so what you gonna do about that? 2019, we saw Lamar Jackson, his unanimous MVP, only second one in history. What you gonna do about that? 42 combined touchdowns. As my Uncle Benefield, rest in peace, used to say, when I asked him questions about, like, how you think I'm gonna play, how you think I'm gonna perform, or whatever, he said, what you gonna do is what you done did, boy. What you gonna do is what you done did. If you wanna talk about a test on Friday, well, how'd you do in practice and all the times you were preparing for that? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. What you gonna do is what you done did. We talk about Russell Wilson in this situation. What's he gonna do? What he done did. He's gonna give it up again somehow, some way. And I give you 2 names. Patrick Mahomes, who's sitting there with 21 touchdowns.
He's sitting there.
Only 1 interception. Train never off the track. Choo, choo. Sitting there like a wolf. You ever seen a wolf, how they hunt? They hit that perimeter first. They just go around. We in a pack, homie. Don't think it's just me, homie. And then they walk around, and they just stare at you, wait for you. What's your move? What's your move, Russell Wilson? Are you going to get off track again? Meanwhile, me and my 21 touchdowns, only 1 interception, will continue to put outstanding performances together consecutively. The narrative's created. The other name is Tom Brady. Be careful, because Tom Brady has all those old-timers that vote. Look at him at 43, and he's still out there killing it. And his team may be the best team in the NFL. Those 2 names are what I'm considering.
Big bro, I think the biggest argument for why Russell Wilson will win MVP is because right now, him hitting 50 touchdown passes, it's a layup.
That's
he has 26 touchdowns right now. He's on pace to throw for 59 throughout the course of this season. Yep. If he gets to 50, it's a layup. 3 times in NFL history, we've seen quarterback with 50 touchdown passes. 07, you had Tom Brady. 13, you had Peyton Manning. And then 18, you had Mahomes. If Russell Wilson gets to that magic number, there's no denying him. Now, I'm with you on Patrick Mahomes, but Patrick Mahomes is only on pace for 42 touchdowns.
Okay.
I'm with you on Tom Brady, but people are going to look up at Tom Brady and say, wait a second. Tom Brady's defense is actually #1 in the NFL. The reason the Bucs are so good is actually because of the defense, not just because of Tom Brady. You're going to look up and you might see Aaron Rodgers, but if Rodgers keeps dropping games like they did yesterday to the Vikings, he'll disqualify himself just off a lack of a quality record when it's such high competition this time around. When you look at Russell Wilson, there's no denying him. When I look at Russ, it's not like his defense is great, so that's not the reason they winning. It's not like he has a running game, so that's not the reason they winning. Everybody was sleeping on Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. It's not like either of them were first-round picks going into this thing, so that's not why they're winning. When I look at Russell Wilson, there will be nobody else to administer credit to than Russell Wilson, and that's why he'll win it.
It's interesting. You just said two different things. First, you said if you get 50 touchdowns, ching, ching, lock down and layup. But then you said, well, we won't have to look at anyone else and take credit away from you. Well, if you got the layup, what does it matter what the opponents are doing, what the competition is doing? Oh, it does matter, because even you know, somehow, some way with Russell Wilson, 50 touchdowns, just not enough. I tell you why it's not enough. Tom Brady, does he play tonight? Mm-hmm. Oh, he does. Any other games on tonight? Oh, just Tom Brady, prime time. And then Sunday, who plays in the Sunday night game? Tom Brady play again? He play the Saints? Prime time. Whoa, the whole world gets to watch Tom Brady with no competition? Watch him on prime time in the bright lights? That's what's going to happen. Also, going forward, I don't know about Russell Wilson when he has to see the Arizona Cardinals again. Maybe that'll be the game that gets him off track again. I'm not going to predict anything ill on Russell Wilson or any of these guys that are in this conversation. But it just seems like Russell Wilson has found himself in a dry patch or two before. In this conversation with Brady, new team, new situation, and then he's the reason why they're winning. You can say what you want about the defense. I love it. But Tom Brady has solidified that position and changed the culture. Then you talk about the situation with Patrick Mahomes. Wait a minute. Dynastic and still rolling to the tune he may be on the heels of what Russell Wilson is doing in terms of numbers and performances. They're going to be too good and too hard to ignore.
Here's the thing, bro. Patrick Mahomes set the standard. He let us know that 2 years ago, 5,000 passing yards, 5,097, 50 touchdowns, 12 picks. That is going to win you MVP. Like, that one MVP, and nobody questioned
5,050.
5,050 is like, yes, that's a bona fide MVP. Russell Wilson's on pace for 4,900 passing yards.
Is that 5,000?
4,900 passing yards. He'll give you some extra passing touchdowns to compensate. Okay. He's on pace for 59. He'll probably land around 53. And he's on pace for like 13, 14 picks. It would be an identical season to what Patrick Mahomes was awarded MVP for 2 years ago, and nobody questioned it. If Russ gets that and doesn't win MVP, there will be a well-deserved outcry of a ton of Seahawks fans, like they're going to be in your mentions right after the Sunday.
Let Russ win.
Coming up, Drew Brees and the Saints have won 4 straight, but it hasn't been easy. I'm going to tell you why they're still contenders, why they're still contenders. That's next. Speak for yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Drew Brees threw 2 touchdowns yesterday against the Bears, but it almost wasn't enough. New Orleans blew their 10-point lead with just over 3 minutes left in the game, but the Saints still won in overtime. New Orleans has now won 4 straight games, but during that streak, they've only won by a combined 15 points. Tight. So, Acho, are Drew Brees and the Saints contenders with a C or pretenders with a P?
The dog, they're contenders with a capital C. The
C.
Saints, it hasn't looked pretty, but they got it done. Here's why I can't knock off the Saints or say they're not contenders, big bro. It's very simple. They've been contenders the last 3 years. They've been literally a play or an overtime away from an NFC championship game. And obviously, if you're a Saints fan, thinking you're going to the Super Bowl. Now you come in this year, you got 2 losses, one of which was to the Packers, and Drew Brees never got the chance to get the ball back, and one was to the Raiders on prime time, pretty indefensible. But outside of that, you beat the Buccaneers. You just beat a playoff-bound Bears team.
Week 1.
So when I look at it, if you're the Saints, the wins haven't looked great, but they're still W Saints. They have a top 10 defense, top 10 offense, one of 3 teams in the NFL to have such. The Saints, the Rams, the Chiefs. We would obviously say the Chiefs are contenders. The Rams, up until yesterday, people would have undeniably said they're contenders. They just looked terrible in that loss to the Dolphins. Maybe there was a little too magic involved, rah-rah, motivating the team, etc. When I look at the Saints, there's just no data, no opinion, no anything that could support them being pretenders.
Really?
So if you have anything to say, I would be shocked and dumbfounded.
Really? I thought you were Mr. Balance. Weren't you talking about roster balance just a couple blocks ago?
Top 10 offense, top 10 defense.
Where's your mental balance? Where's your perspective? Are you one of those people that don't have a contrary to their beliefs so they could beat it up to see if it's the correct belief? Or are you that person? Sound like it. How can you come out here and say it emphatically with your chest, a capital C in contenders? How about lowercase c? If anything, whisper pretenders. Like, do that. That's where I am. I am not heavy on one side or the other, but I will whisper pretenders. Let me tell you why.
Why?
Oh, you said there's no data. I wonder if the Saints are the worst red zone defense in the NFL. I wonder if they are. You know why? Because I think when you get into the red zone, you really need to shore up and be stout. Oh, but you're the worst. Not 27th, not 28th, the worst. Oh, so they're going to give up some points if you get down to the red zone. What about the most penalized team in the league? I wonder if they could ever come into play and hurt a team's chances going forward, since they've been here the last several years, and they just can't seem to get over the hump. I wonder if having the most penalties helps you get over that hump. I don't think it does. So for you to say someone doesn't have data, you obviously don't know who you're working with. Now, we both agree on this, that more games in the NFL are lost than won. Right. Why? Because all you have to do is capitalize on others' mistakes. I don't know if this team is going to capitalize on others' mistakes when they're going to be the one that are creating their own mistakes and friendly fire because of the penalties. My only hesitation from capitalizing my pretenders, or saying it loudly, pretenders, is the fact that I haven't seen Michael Thomas with this bunch. Is this a version of addition by subtraction, or is this a version of once we get Michael Thomas, then we can really be, as you say, contenders?
The issue with what you said is this, Marcellus. Everybody got a weakness. Jordan wasn't a great three-point shooter. LeBron can't shoot free throws. If you got to scrounge your data facts to say, well, their red zone percentage isn't very good.
I ain't say percent.
Come on, big bro. Like, you got to get down.
What's my weakness?
I'm not going to do it.
Oh, you ain't going to do it.
I'm not on national television. I'm not going to sit here and nitpick. Everybody is bad at something. But furthermore, let me ask you this. If the Saints aren't contenders, particularly in the NFC, then who is?
Tampa Bay.
The same Tampa Bay team that the Saints beat?
Week 1.
Sure, and I'm not going to sit here.
Don't do that.
I'm not. I'm not going to sit here and act like the Tampa, but I'm just going to say, if the Saints aren't contenders, you can't say the Packers are. They just lost to the Vikings yesterday. You can say the Seahawks are, but the Seahawks defense is atrocious.
Boy.
But so if you're going to say the Seahawks, because I think the Seahawks are contenders, you have to also say the Saints. It's very simple. Yeah. If the Saints aren't contenders, you have to tell me who in the heck is a contender. Because whoever you tell me, I'm going to tell you exactly why the Saints belong in that same breath.
Well, I don't think you got to scrounge and say most penalized team in the NFL is like a really abstract. That's not abstract. That's some substance.
For sure.
Right. All right, let me give you the flip of this. Sometimes you have to do what they say in sociology, which is definition of others, which means you show them something else, and that shows you who you are because you're not that. Let's talk about the LA Chargers in this situation that have 5 losses, all by 1 possession, 3 points, 5 points, 7 points, 3 points, 1 point. Why do I bring that up? Because the Saints are that damn close to being the LA Chargers in terms of these close games. When they won 4 games by 15 points, all I'm letting you know, in the game of inches and in the game of 1 point or a few points, that the Saints are hanging on by a thread, brother.
If a fan were to say that, I'd let them off the hook. But because you know better, you played it, and you know best, you know as well as I, big bro, that is actually more of a compliment than it is a knock.
I give you that compliment.
Like, if you're winning all your close games and the Chargers are losing all theirs, that actually means that's something I would look at the Saints and go, you know what, I respect that.
I would too, but it'd be a backhanded compliment. You know why? Y'all got the most penalties in the damn league. Sooner or later, you know it. That's going to catch up to him. Coming up, Big Ben is still undefeated, and Lamar Jackson had a day to forgive, for real. We'll tell you if we were impressed with the Steelers or disappointed in the Ravens. Next, Speak for Yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Ben Roethlisberger led the Steelers to a comeback win in Baltimore yesterday. Lamar Jackson had the ball late in the game with a chance to win, but he fumbled in the red zone with 2 minutes left. One of his 4 turnovers in the game. The Ravens got the ball back one more time, and Lamar threw an incompletion in the end zone on the final play of the game. And the Steelers still undefeated. After the game, head coach Mike Tomlin said about Lamar, quote, "We have respect for him, but we don't fear him." Oh, say it with your chest, coach. Marcellus, were you more impressed with the Steelers or disappointed in the Ravens yesterday?
Disappointed in my Ravens. Yeah, my Ravens, damn it, because I like the Ravens. I like how they ball. I like how they get at their defense first and that running game and that unanimous MVP at quarterback. Who's Tomlin trying to fool with that? Oh, we respect him, but we don't fear him. Like there's a list of guys that Tomlin fears. Who do you think Tomlin would list as guys we fear or teams we fear? Go.
Patrick Mahomes.
You a damn liar. He ain't gonna put anybody's name on the list. He gonna say, I respect him the most. But fear? What opponent do we fear? So, Tomlin, I love you, big dog, but that was for those people who don't know the ball game like we do. It took the Pittsburgh Steelers to the last second to beat the Ravens that threw a pick six in the first possession without marking with only 2 starting offensive linemen. It took them down to the last second of the game, nail-biter, for them to beat that squad. Oh, I'm disappointed in you, Ravens, because you had this one. This should have been the game that the Ravens won, but they had the issues, self-inflicted. Then they didn't go out there and totally dominate the game. They had the game won, it felt like. It felt like one of those games, Acho, where when you look up, you're like, God, the team that won, I don't know if they played better, but they won. So I'm disappointed in the team that lost because they actually played better, and that's how I feel about this.
I agree on some accounts, bro. There are games where you watching and you looking at the scoreboard like, wait, what, they ahead?
Yeah.
But I gotta say, the Ravens' issues weren't self-inflicted. The Steelers went out there and they inflicted the punishment. The Steelers, they went out there and they took what was theirs. Again, we talk about the delineation between turnovers, just giving the ball away, and takeaways when the defense goes and gets it. On paper, they look the same, but in reality, they're very, very different. The reason I give credit to the Steelers and the reason I think the Steelers are the best team in the National Football League right now, Lamar Jackson, he had never had 4 turnovers in his career. Yesterday, Steelers did that. Good. Lamar Jackson, 23-0 when having a lead at halftime. Now he's 23-1 after Sunday's game when having a lead at halftime. The Steelers did things against Lamar Jackson we've never seen Lamar Jackson do before. Turnovers and individual things as far as turnovers, collective things as far as a team. So when I look at who really went out there and dominated that football game, the Steelers did. The Steelers went out there, took what was theirs, rivalry matchup. Lamar Jackson had to show up. He looked very human. And in all honesty, I think Mike Tomlin was being honest, being nice, rather. When he said, we respect him, I think he was just saying that so people don't get mad. I'm not even convinced that he respects him. The way they played against him, Lamar fumbled 3 times. He only lost 2 picks. I don't even know if Mike Tomlin would have reason to respect him after the way he made Lamar look.
Does he respect Ben Roethlisberger? Because if he does, the week before, Ben threw 3 picks, almost lost that game. So guess what? You respect your quarterback for having a turnover day. You can respect the unanimous MVP for having a turnover day.
Coach.
Look, Acho, I'm going to steal one of your phrases, but kind of adopt it as mine because I'm going to add a layer to it that really takes it over the top and makes it almost a Wileyism. You always remind me that sometimes you lose a game because of points. You don't have enough. And sometimes you lose a game because of time. You just ran out of it. And this looks like a game yesterday where they just ran out of time. Think about it. Your first possession, pick 6, and then you're still in that game, then you're up in that game. And then you find yourself waning moments of the game, still with a chance to win that same game. And I go back to that holding penalty. Controversial. Ooh, that was a bad holding call that took away Lamar Jackson's running touchdown, his rushing touchdown. But they did score 4 plays later. So for the guys out there who don't know the game as well as we do, they would say, so what? They still scored. But what about the time? 1 minute and 30 seconds elapsed off of that between those 4 plays. That would have been the 130 they needed to win that game because I don't know. They lost in points, but they lost more so in the time. They suffered because they had to rush through that last series. I think if they had time on the clock, Big Dog, they would have won that.
I respect that, but let me now talk globally. Let me talk from a bird's eye view. The reason I respect the Steelers and the reason I'm impressed with the Steelers, because this mantra, which is really not a traditional mantra for 2020, it works. They got no egos. Their leading receiver, like I said, Juju, he had 67 yards receiving. Remember, the Ravens star receiver after the game, he took to Twitter, deleted the tweet, but he took to Twitter. The Steelers, on the other hand, you got guys who gonna ball one week, disappear the next week, and they like, it's all Gucci as long as we're winning. The other reason I respect the Steelers, they're one of the few teams in the league that really still play defense. Like you could tell Mike Tomlin was hype at the end of the game, not just because they won, but also because they won with the defensive stop and the defensive stand, and Mike Tomlin has always been a defensive guy. So in a day and age in an NFL, which we're seeing the more points than we've ever had, we're seeing more yards than we've ever seen, the Steelers still out here balling on the defensive end, and that's why I'm impressed with them. Coming up, Uncle Jimmy has a lot to say about the Cowboys-Eagles game and one of us. That's next. Don't want to miss that.
Before we go, Uncle Jimmy joins us. So I'm hearing you have an issue with the Cowboys-Eagles game and with one of us. Take it away, Unc. What's up?
Look, man, that game last night reminded me of my mama-in-law. Now, I don't know if it was the fact that it was Halloween or what. All I know, it was ugly as hell and hard to look at. It got to the point that it started hurting my feelings, all right?
All right.
That game last night was just like my first marriage. Meaning, as soon as it got started, I couldn't wait for it to be over.
Man, stop.
Okay?
Leave her alone.
I'm telling you, man, it was horrible. Nobody wanted to be there. Not the coaches, not the parents, nobody. Just me and my wife.
The parents.
And look, man, we got to the point, hey, she loves me, but she knows I'm a realist. And I told her, baby, your mama add a whole new meaning to the term an ugly win. Then she gonna get all sensitive. Forget you, Jenny Dodds. They say beauty's only skin deep. I told the girl, damn, what you talking about? I like what God like, and it ain't nothing but the truth. Hey, your mama is ugly to the bone, just like that game last night. Don't blame me. Hey,
Your mama. That ugly game. Fox Net Live next.